Um, so, okay, thank you so much for the audience who are coming today, and thank you so much to our alumni who are with us today, Darren, Mary, Yu, Tiffany, and Ashley. We're really fortunate to have you with us so we can give the current international students some tips about how to survive through uni and find their career path in this Faculty of Business and Economics. So just a brief introduction about MUISS. We are an independent division of MSA, which is Monash Student Association. We represent and advocate for the rights and welfare of international students at Monash. And this event is also presented together with ISE, which is International Student Engagement Team. Cool, just a brief introduction of today. Basically, there are three components. The first one is about the introduction about alumni themselves. There'll be 5 minutes for each alumnus, and the second part is presented by ISE. They will talk about some really useful resources for international students, especially the final year student, about finishing uni page, Career Connect, visa sessions, Montrack, and individual support service. The final component of the session today is Q&A. So for all the audience who are online at the moment, please feel free to send your questions now in Q&A. You don't have to wait until the Q&A session. You can fire your questions, anything you want to ask. And meanwhile, my team member and alumni will have a look at the questions in Q&A box. We also have pre-collected questions from students who registered to our session. So we'll see how it goes with the live questions. If not, then we'll also ask some pre-collected ones. All right, as you guys can see, there's a QR code in the corner. That's for our survey link. So if you like to give us your feedback or comments about the session, please scan the QR code. You can also get into the $20 voucher lucky draw. All right, beautiful. Some housekeeping stuff before we start. Please send your questions to the Q&A box rather than the chat function, because the alumni will basically have their focus on Q&A box to see your questions. And please submit your questions in a respectful manner. And again, if you want to give us feedback at any time, please scan the QR code. Alrighty, now we come to the introduction of our alumni. So whenever you're ready, Tiffany, feel free to unmute yourself and give us some insight into your experience.
All right. Hi, everyone. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. Yep. Hi, everyone. My name is Tiffany Tanzil, a recent commerce graduate majoring in actuarial science and econometrics. First, I'd like to take a moment to say thank you for the Monash University International Student Service for giving me the opportunity to participate in this alumni webinar as a Faculty of Business representative. A little bit about myself. I came to Australia about 3 years ago from Indonesia, and I started off studying in Monash College. I was only 17 at that time, and I remember the feeling of moving into a new place all by myself was scary, yet so exciting at the same time, because I'd always dreamed of studying abroad since I was very young. For me, studying abroad has been one of the most enriching experiences I've ever had. It has helped me to boost my confidence, being more independent, and more importantly, making so many memories and friends that I will cherish for the rest of my life. Probably my ultimate strategy of making the most of your study experience is to make lots of friends and connections. To be honest, life in university can be tough sometimes, whether when you miss home or whether when study gets hard. In situations like this, it's important to have friends by your side to help you get through it. This tip is so simple yet so important. I know it's quite difficult at the moment, especially because we're in stage 4 lockdown. However, my tips are to always try to reach out to other students in your online class or participate in various events. For example, like these events, to reach out to other students and join other society. Try to be more active. Don't be shy to reach out to other students. Make meaningful friendship with others, and you'll never know, maybe they can give you help or opportunity in the future, or even better if you can get lifelong friends. Furthermore, after I graduate, I decided that I want to have some working experience in Australia. Therefore, I applied for a graduate visa and I'm currently looking for a job. To share my job seeking experience, to be honest, it's not easy. At first, I thought job seeking will be an easy matter, especially because my major I considered to be highly demanded in Australia. Unfortunately, things haven't been working out as easy as I thought, especially under this corona situation, where I have faced many obstacles and rejections, and at some points I feel like maybe I should just give up. However, after sharing my experience with some of my friends, I realized that what I'm facing is truly normal, and people are experiencing the same things as well. From my experience, there are some tips that I want to share that you can find useful to be prepared for your career planning after graduation. First, it's really important to improve your experience to help you being prepared for your career in the future. My advice is to try finding internship or volunteer or even join some societies and club in uni. These activities not only help you to improve your professional skills, but it also can help you to grow as an individual. It can help you to boost your career as a graduate in the future, but it also helps you to improve your soft skills such as communication skills or interpersonal skills. Based on my personal experience, employers tend to hire people who has more experience that are relevant to the role. Therefore, you need to make sure that you have some outstanding experiences to help your application stand out among many applicants. The second tip for final year student is it's really important if you can try to apply for a graduate role as early as possible. For example, if you're graduating next year, try to apply for any graduate role opening this year. Don't wait until the time when you've graduated. Based on my experience, one of my biggest regrets is that I don't try to apply for graduate job when I was in final year and missed lots of opportunities. Therefore, make sure you apply for it as early as possible if you don't want to miss out. Last, my tip is to try being more active on LinkedIn. Try to make more connections and remember to post regularly. Posting some useful things can really help you to get noticed quickly by some employers and fellow job seekers. LinkedIn has played a big part in my job seeking experience and making connection. To be honest, I wouldn't be able to get the opportunity to be a part of this alumni night if it's not because of LinkedIn. I think that's all about my experience. I hope you find some of the tips are useful. Thank you so much.
Beautiful talk. Thank you, Tiffany. Like your experience, and really agree that LinkedIn would be a great part for all the students.
Sure.
Okay, beautiful. Cool. Our next alumnus, Darren, whenever you're ready.
All right. Hi guys, I'm Darren, and I've actually been so sorry. I graduated in Monash with a Bachelor of Actuarial Science in 2018. So during my time, I was actually working in Mercedes-Benz Financial Services as an intern, which turned out to be a part-time role after that while I was studying. And then I moved on to work in an investment firm in Melbourne after that. But in between the two companies, I took a 9 months break to pursue my passion and love for squash. I'm a professional squash athlete for a lot of years. And I just thought of giving it a try because of the youth advantage. And also, I don't want to have any regrets later on in life. So I started off, being the last in the world, and I moved up to 144 in the world in 9 months. And then that was before I started my job in the investment firm. And the reason I stopped squash and moved to an investment firm was because I thought I just needed some change in my life. It's got pretty stagnant. And after that, COVID hit, and that was March 2020. And that was when I moved back to Malaysia and worked on my startup. And this startup has been great. Right now, we have currently having 5 employees with recurring revenue of 70,000 a month, which is good to sustain everyone. And but then few months passed by, and I decided to stop working on my startup literally next month and move back to squash to play for the Commonwealth Games and Asian Games in 2 years. But at the meantime, my previous firm in Australia contacted me to work for them from Malaysia. So that's very helpful and nice of them. Just due because they want to open up an office here in Malaysia as well in the future. So I will save the tips and tricks for the Q&A session, but that's all right now for my background.
Awesome. Thank you, Darren, for sharing your experience and your background. Really appreciate that. So now it comes to Mary.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Yashan, as well. So actually, hi, everyone. My name is Mary, and I'm currently working in Sydney as an IT consultant for SAP. And to briefly introduce myself, so actually, I graduated 2 years back from Monash in 2018 with Bachelor of Commerce degree, and a major is econometrics and minor in actuarial science. And actually, the reason that I have moved to the consulting field is because I'd like to take some challenge and I'd like to experience something new with each area and different projects. And actually, how I have successfully landed here is because I have been through a lot of volunteering sessions when I was back in the uni. And at the end of my last semester, I completed a 3-month consulting project we started in Melbourne. And because of that, I got to know my mentor who referred me to my business analyst internship with Victorian government. And from there, I got to know, I got the right feeling of working in the data. And I really like to develop more through this professional. So that's why I have landed here. And apart from that, I'm currently the mentor for Monash Industry and Alumni program, as well as Women in IT, because I like to share and I like to empower the young generation to improve more as early as they can. So, one fact about me is actually I completed the marathon last year without any professional training, which I was a bit proud of myself. So I would encourage everyone to try as much as you can and try to follow your passion. So we could chat more later in the Q&A session, and feel free to connect me through LinkedIn as well. Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Mary. Really lovely to know your both career and your like marathon experience as well. That's awesome. Yep, Mary, we'll talk to you later in the Q&A session. And now we have Yu Li.
Hi guys, my audio is okay? Great. So my great pleasure to meet you all here. Obviously, I graduated from Monash as well. To talk about a little bit about my background in both my study and my work. So when I was in early first year or second year, I wasn't sure sort of which major I'd like, and hence pursue a relevant career in the future. So I tried out a few core units, and I was lucky enough to actually find passion in econometrics. And eventually I actually pushed myself pretty hard. So I ended up actually did all the units to allow me to actually have a double major in either finance, econometrics, or actuarial study. Now to talk a little bit about my job experience, I graduated in Monash in 2017. At that time, I knew in my heart that I wanted to pursue an honors degree in econometrics, which I did later on. But I kind of also didn't want to just study all the way. I consulted a lot of my friends and seniors on the advice, and then I actually decided to take a year gap in between my bachelor and my honors so I could gain some actual industry experience. I ended up working in an asset managed firm in China, and I was rotating in investment banking and equity research. I can talk about a bit more of how I got that job later on. But eventually, after I again graduated from Monash with an honors degree, I started to sort of work a bit on my LinkedIn profile. And at that time, business school actually was asking me if I'd like to teach a few units for them. And this opportunity came with a different opportunity to work at a part-time in a asset management firm. So I thought I could be doing both while looking for a proper full-time job in the industry. And that was early 2020. And just while I was working for a asset management firm in Melbourne, my boss actually then referred me to a different company, and I had an interview with that company later on an equity research role. And I ended up getting that role. So now I'm teaching for Monash on a part-time basis, and I'm working as an equity researcher on a part-time basis. At the same time, I have continued to do research on my honors project with my supervisor at that time, and we are working on publishing my thesis. So that's what I'm currently doing. I definitely think coronavirus hit brings you actually more experience and suffers that you can learn from. So this is a tough time, but let's all be encouraged, and like to talk to you guys more and answer you guys' questions later on.
Beautiful talk. Thank you. You really appreciate that. Okay. Now, Ashley, whenever you're ready, feel free to unmute yourself.
Yep. Thank you so much. Thank you everyone for introducing and sharing about yourselves today. I'm so excited to be representing marketing majors tonight. So a little bit about myself. I did a background, so I graduated from Monash with a degree in the business degree and majoring in marketing. And prior to this, I was doing a 3-year diploma in mass communication in Singapore, and I always thought that I would be a journalist when I grew up. But when I was doing my diploma, I got really curious about marketing and advertising, and I think it was this kind of open-mindedness to trying new things that I was just interested in that might not have been the plan all along, that kind of brought me the opportunities that I've met with during my time in Melbourne. So I was pretty certain that I wanted to do marketing when I came to Monash. And I think for first 2 years of uni, I was kind of just going with the flow. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I wasn't really intentional with the stuff that I wanted to achieve during my time there. But I think in 2018, so that was my second year of uni, I just joined the Monash Modern Jazz Dance Club, and I just wanted to dance. I just wanted to learn how to dance, actually. Ended up doing marketing stuff. I really enjoyed the committee that was there and thought that I could use this opportunity to showcase my marketing skills, and something that I thought was just so small and I didn't think it was that significant at the time. But in my final year, when I decided I wanted to take on some internships, and at the time I still remember I was considering if I wanted to stay in Melbourne to work or if I wanted to move back to Singapore, which I am in Singapore now. So at the time, I was a really, really big decision for myself. I was always stressing about it. And I think in my final year, and when I decided that I wanted to intern, I brought up the example of working as the marketing officer at the dance club, and I could use all these examples. And I think the experience and the responsibility that role gave me was something that my two employers both at two internships that I did in my final year really took to, and they saw that, hey, this girl can do these things and she has all these skills in these things. I think that was a very useful experience. So in my final year, I spent most of last year working at this Melbourne tech startup. So it was a hospitality startup. A little brief description about the product is they kind of scan QR codes to look at menus on your phone. And in hindsight, it's really good in COVID now. So it was, when I was hired, I was just doing normal, just maybe data entry or admin stuff. But over time there, I was kind of creating opportunities for myself to show them my skills. I offered to do research or present to them, or attend client meetings and stuff like that. So I think it was small initiatives like that showed them that, that I was committed and I wanted to do the job. So towards the end of last year, I was offered a full-time role to work on one of the projects that they had signed with the Australian Venue Co, which is a big hospitality group that does that manages restaurants and bars across Australia. So I worked on that for a few months, and then I decided that I wanted to move back to Singapore this year. So I left the job and I moved back, and I'm sure I heard some of the other panelists mention job searching during this time is just so chaotic, and I think it really is very difficult. That process on its own is already so difficult in a regular circumstance, and I think in this COVID situation is totally natural that you're not gonna meet so many difficulties. So I would be super keen to like share whatever experience I've had that can help anyone. So today, fast forward to today, I am interning at a data solutions company in Singapore, and it was like one of these situations where I never thought that something like this will happen. Some of my previous colleagues at the tech startup in Melbourne reached out to me on LinkedIn asking me to work on content marketing for them, and like just working remotely from Singapore. And it was really nice to hear. I think something like what Darren mentioned earlier about how his company reached out to him to work for them from Malaysia. I think stuff like that I think it's only possible in this day and age where we all can work remotely, and you just didn't think that, I just didn't think that something like that would happen to me this year. So it was really nice to hear from them. Yeah, so that was a short summary of what I've done and how I can help you guys if you guys have any questions.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, Ashley, and thank you all alumni for sharing your experiences at the start. Yeah, so for the audience, feel free to like have your questions in Q&A box, and alumni can have a look at it now. And then for the second component of the event, we're lucky to have Param from ISE team, International Student Engagement team, to share with us about some useful tips that you can use in your final year. Yeah, so whenever you're ready, Param, feel free to unmute yourself. Do you want me to stop sharing so you can share your slides? Or?
Oh, that would be great. Thank you. Thanks, Lisa.
Thank you.
Give me a second. Make sure I'm sharing the correct screen. Can you see the introduction screen there now?
Yeah, awesome.
Great, perfect. So thanks, Lisa and MUISS, for inviting us along. It's good to be able to speak with all of you via Zoom this evening. So what we want to speak to you about is in this time, we understand that all of you are graduating, and once you leave Monash, there's not too much that we can do for you. But in the meantime, there's a lot of services that you can access. And I also wanted to highlight to you that there are certain services that you can still access for a certain period of time, even after you graduate. So I'll take you through a short presentation, and if we manage to get through in time, I'll be happy to take any quick questions if there is time. So firstly, we've got 2 visa information sessions. So I understand some of you may be keen to stay on in Melbourne, and getting accurate information, it can be costly. So what we do is we invite an immigration agent, a qualified immigration agent, to speak to students to let them know about what their visa options are. And we've got 2 sessions coming up for this semester on the 3rd and 9th of September. So if you're a final semester student, you should get a direct email about it, but scan this QR code if you'd like to sign up now. So it's a 1-hour session, and there's time for questions at the end as well. However, if you don't have time to join that session and you'd like to speak to someone on your own, feel free to contact any agent, but make sure they're registered. And what you'd like to know is that they're registered with MARA, M-A-R-A. So if you look on that government website, mara.gov.au, they've got a full list of qualified agents. So whomever you speak to, make sure that they're registered. Now, some of you will be really keen to start applying for jobs as soon as possible. And as you know, you normally get your graduation documents at the point of graduation. I'm not sure what's going to happen with graduations at the end of the year yet. No one knows. But if you do need your documents really soon, you can get a certificate of completion, a letter of completion, after you get your results. So once your results are out, within the next 24 or 48 hours, your faculties will be processing your completion. You will be able to get a completion letter then through Monash Connect. So you'll be able to get it via email, and you can start using that document as proof of completion. What you do need to know, if there are graduation ceremonies in person, for some countries where tourist visas are not that easy to access, the Department of Home Affairs will ask you for proof. If your parents are trying to, they will actually ask your parents for proof if they're trying to attend, get a tourist visa to attend your graduation ceremony. You can contact Monash Connect for that. They'll give you a letter to show that you are graduating and your parents are being invited to the ceremony. So if you have any questions with regards to graduation at this point, please contact Monash Connect. To my understanding, they're not able to confirm whether ceremonies are being held in person or not just as yet. We'll be waiting for further information from the health authorities in Victoria. Now, there's a lot to think about because, since you've commenced your studies, you would have, especially for those of you who are still in Melbourne, you would have accumulated a lot of things as you started. So there'll be things you'll be thinking about graduation, moving out, career planning, and so on. So what we've done is we've gathered a checklist for you and also a guide about things to think about. Now, some of these things you don't need to actually action at this stage, but it'll be good to start thinking about it, especially if you're thinking of packing up and moving at the end of the semester. So what you can do is just scan this QR code and it'll bring you to a checklist that we put together for you. And I should say at any point, if you've got any questions about anything that's in the checklist, please feel free to contact us anytime and we'll be able to assist. Now this isn't a piece of career advice, but it's just a general piece of advice and a push in the right direction. I know some of you have had childhood dreams and once you graduate, this is exactly what you want to do. Some of you are almost at the end of your degree, but you're still thinking, what exactly should I do? There's this really good website called joboutlook.gov.au. And if you go there, you've got career quizzes and based on your profile, they'll suggest careers to you. So for example, based on someone's quiz, they've been suggested to take up advertising and marketing professional roles. And then you've got a summary of what kind of task you'd have to do in your daily work during such jobs, what kind of pay you get, whether there's a demand at the moment, and so on. Obviously, this is very Australia specific, but it's a good guide, so have a look at it. Now, Career Connect, I'm sure you've heard of them throughout your study, but what you should know is that they offer one-on-one consultations. So if you need a bit more clarity, it's good to set up a conversation with them. So they do have very specialized seminars as well for students who wanting to, for example, they've got a session for students who want to work in Asia, students who want to find work in North Asia, and so on. So they've got different focused seminars. Have a look at their website, but the one thing we'd recommend definitely is the individual consultations. They're only 20 minutes, but you can get quite a lot out of it in that time. Now, the other thing that we encourage you to think about in a bit of detail is about your current lease if you're staying in Australia. You don't want to be thinking about that too much during your exams, so have a plan now so that it'll be easier to execute. Now, if you've got a lease that is going to expire slightly after you graduate, so you're not going to be able to see out your lease, do know that it's good that you give at least 28 days notice. If you can, to the best of your ability. It'll be better if you give longer notice to the agents so that they can find a replacement, and then you'll be you may not have to compensate them as much financially. Please remember, a lot of we find that as obvious as it is, sometimes students forget because they are so excited about finishing up and going back home that they don't leave enough time to clean up the property before they leave. So if you don't clean it up, you'll be liable for the cleaning fees and so on. Please remember to return your keys. Don't take them back with you, and make any final payments for bills. So sometimes I know some people pack up. They choose to pay an extra month of rent or something because they don't want to waste time finding a new tenant. But your bills, like your water bill and electricity bills, please remember to terminate them. So you won't be paying unnecessarily fees on that front as well. And if you happen to be living with others who are not graduating at the same time as you, so they'll be staying on, please discuss this with them ahead of time so that they're not in a difficult position. So these are just some tips, and our off-campus accommodation team can give you a lot of details with this. They can work with you to, depending on your individual situation, so please take note of this email address. It's mrs.offcampus@monash.edu. It's a free service, and they'll be able to assist you up to 3 months after you graduate. So even though you stop being a Monash student, this service still extends for you. And the staff there are trained tenancy advisors, so they can assist you in great detail. And if you've got any other general questions, you can contact Monash Connect. But since you've got this email address for any accommodation issues, please contact them directly. And so that's the end of my presentation. And I'd like to thank you again for having me here. I'd like to wish you all the best. I myself have been a graduate of Monash 3 times now, and it's a great experience. And what you've got along with your degree is a fantastic alumni network that you're buying into. Some of the best things that some of my best friends are from Monash. After I graduated, I started a small business with my friends, whom I met actually at orientation. They were sitting at the left and right of me. So that's a long story, but won't go into that now. But you've got such a valuable network. Make most of it. All the best with your final semester. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Prem, for sharing those useful resources to our students. I was just wondering if they're gonna have like the link to your PDF documents also, so they can refer back to your resources at any time after the session. Would that be all right with you? Like to share it in the chat? Sorry, I think you muted yourself.
Okay, I'll send that through in the chat shortly.
Awesome, thank you so much.
Thanks, Lisa.
All right, now, yeah, we're coming to the final part of the event today, which is Q&A session. So these are some examples you can ask. You can ask about career planning, study tips, interview tips, uni survival strategies, and recommended extracurricular activities. Just please do not ask visa, PR, matter during this session, because we do have a specific session for that afterwards. And please do not ask any personal or sensitive topics. It's great to see that there are many questions coming up in Q&A box, and thank you for answering those, alumni. Yep. And is there anything in the answered one you guys would like to touch on, or you're happy for me to start in the open live section? Feel free to unmute yourself. Yeah.
I think you can just go straight to the live session.
Live session? Awesome. All right. So we are conscious of the time. For each question, we might just get one of the alumni to take the main lead of answering the questions, and other people can add on the brief comments if you want. But yeah, we do value all the feedback from you guys. So if you want to give us feedback, just go to the QR code in the corner. And yeah, we shall start now. Cool. So the first question from the audience: how was your overall experience studying in Monash? I know it's quite a broad one. Yeah, any of you guys would like to share your...
Okay, I'll go since I'm the only one that's not muted. I would say my overall experience at Monash was such a big learning curve for me. I was really far out of my comfort zone for a big chunk of my time at Monash, but I think the result of that is me learning learning to, I think I was really quiet and like shy before my experience studying in Monash. And if you asked me 3 years ago if I would be speaking on this panel today, I would tell you like, nah, don't come and ask me to do stuff like that. Like, but I think it was through working and like in my final year and meeting all these people that I, you know, like gained confidence in myself, and I like learned that I have valuable insight to share with other people, and that is something that I want to do. I think that is probably the biggest things I had with my experience at Monash.
Yep, awesome. Any comments other alumni want to add on, or are you happy for me to move on to the next one?
Yep.
Awesome. Okay. I think Horan's question has been answered by Mary. Really.
Yeah.
So thank you, Horan, for posting your question, and thank you, Mary, for answering that. Yeah, if there's anything in the answered one, but if for audience, if you still want to like follow up your questions, feel free to do so. Okay. So the next one. Is there any advice you wish to share for students who want to work in the same company as you do? Yeah.
Is this actually a question target to particularly one of us, or?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I guess this audience didn't mention any name of the alumni particularly, but yeah, any of you guys are welcome to answer this.
Well, I can go since I. So I work, well, for my job for teaching for Monash. I guess you just have to stay connected with the people in the faculty, because there was no interviewing process for me at all. It was all from connections, and then the fact that I know the lecturers and they know that I have the skill to teach and I have the knowledge to do so. So I guess, yeah, building up the network and stay connected. As for my job as an equity analyst, it was interesting, as when they were interviewing me, they were emphasizing on that we are not looking for a correct answer of your presentation, because I meant to do a presentation for them. They were telling me that, I know it's during lockdown, but that was the time when we still actually could travel out. But they were emphasizing on the fact that they just wanted to observe me in presenting, thinking how I broadly talk about the subject, and really the interpersonal skill. So I think that will probably be what you are really looking for in a broad industry. Probably not in all the industry, but that would be the kind of skill that a lot of industries and companies would really look for, rather than owning your academic achievements, I guess. Yep, that's all from me.
Yep, good point. Anything you want to quickly add on?
Yes, so I might add on a little bit apart from you. And also I do agree to build up our professional network does help a lot, because because people will trust if it comes from referral, as they got to know them for a while. And apart from that, I want to say that when the employers are trying to seek for graduates, the most top 3 key attributes that I can summarize could be communication and presentation skill, to test out whether we can freely communicate our ideas in a very concise and clear way. And secondly would be able to work in a team and to work under pressure, because normally whatever the industry it is, whether it's entrepreneurship or it's academic or it's in the professional service like consulting or IT or financial service, we all are required to work in a team and to collaborate to boost more ideas. So I would say try to build up your team leadership skill throughout your assignments or throughout extracurricular activities like club or committee or some other internship or volunteering. So the third one would be be sure about what you are really good at, to be able to figure out your expertise. Because at the early stage, I would encourage every one of us to try to follow our passion, to do what we are good at, and later on try to fill the gap to build on from there. Because anyway, we need to start from somewhere. So to be confident about yourself and try to build on from your expertise. So that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, beautiful. Thank you, you and Mary, for answering that. Okay, we'll move on to the next one. Did you work part-time during your university years? If so, what are the tips you would give for students looking for a part-time job? Yeah, so this one I guess is a quite useful and generic one that I feel like all the current international students are concerned about. Yep, Darren or Ashley?
I think Ashley can go first.
Oh, okay. So I did look for a part-time job for most of my time at Monash. I didn't have much luck in like the first 1 or 2 years. I don't know why, like I was sending out resumes, I was applying everywhere, but didn't really get a response. But in my 3rd year, I happened to go to this cafe all the time and became friends with the barista. So one day they told me that they were hiring part-time help, and I think that was how I started working there. So I would work there every weekend, which would work really well with my work schedule and uni schedule to be able to work there every weekend. I understand that it's a bit difficult right now because of COVID and how everyone can't really go out, but I also know there are some resources where you can like apply for remote work through just through the web, so you can work from home depending on what the nature of the job is. So I think looking in other avenues right now could be very helpful, and I will be happy to share those links if anybody is interested.
Yeah, that's a good point, especially during COVID. Is a bit different.
Yeah.
You can't physically be there. You can't be easily finding work as a waitress or a waiter, something that's physical. It has to be really online. And there's a lot of ways to do it, like, can be a freelancer, content writer.
Correct. Yeah.
Right, a lot of variety of jobs you can look for. If that's what you're referring to, then I think it's too long to explain here. You can probably shoot me a text on Facebook or LinkedIn that I'll share with you some strategy that I've used over the whole period of COVID, and how I personally use for my startup as well, because my startup started up during COVID, which was the best time to start because everyone's online. The attention is there. So yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you, Ashley and Darren, for answering that. Okay, the next question from the audience. If I'm interested to learn about business and commerce, but dislike numbers and counting, what major is the best for me other than management?
Marketing.
International business.
I was going to say that. Marketing.
I went into marketing being terrified of numbers, but I mean, I think I'm decent. I just have a big fear of numbers, but I managed to carry myself through and graduated with a degree. I support you 100%, and if you need any help, you can hit me up.
Yeah, awesome. Tiffany or Yu, do you still want to
I thought I'll just add on that econometrics and actuarial, and also a lot of other major in business and commerce, they're actually not really about numbers and accounting. You might encounter numbers counting in your first year or early stage of uni, but if you really get down to the description of the major, you will realize that you're solving business problems. And in econometrics, you're using models and tools. So you might use data, but that's not number and counting. You most likely will be dealing with models, letters, and theories. So really think about, do a bit more research on the major and what they are really about, and then think about what you mean by numbers and counting. What are you really disliking? Are you disliking business and commerce, in fact? Because I think if you just simply don't like numbers, like literally numbers, that doesn't stop you from pursuing quite a few majors in business and commerce. That's my opinion.
Perfect. Tiffany, do you also have something to comment on?
Probably just the same like Yuli, because I'm doing actuarial as well, and I don't think it's all about number. It's more about how you think logically and like how you solve business problems. That's it. Thank you.
Good to know that aspect from you. Awesome. All right, so the next question from the audience: how do you get or search for a career mentor?
I think I got a lot of questions. Like, sorry, Mary, I saw you want to answer that. I'll let you answer after this. A lot of people think a mentor is something you go and find and search. Be also aware that when they become, if they are, you think of their perspective, if they sign up to be your mentor, it's literally their part-time job to monitor you, to listen to you. Their time is invested in you. So what makes like you have to be someone valuable or to them for them to invest in you, if that makes sense. So and a lot of people think mentor has to be alive and you don't need to be face to face. You can easily read a book by, let's say, Jim Rohn or Tony Robbins, and he can be a mentor, like just not in person. You know, their thoughts and their ideas and their testimonials, it's all already in a book. Down a bookstore, you can buy for $20 today. And I think that's the best way to get access to mentorship, because mentorship is just their experiences ingraining into your brain, right? You want to leverage their experience and their life experience, their work experience. And actually those experiences are really documented online and in their autobiography as well. So that's one hack, I would say. Yeah, to not so much searching for mentors, but look in a different way to search for mentor in a different form.
Yep, awesome. Mary, do you also have something to add on?
Yes, so actually, personally, I would definitely agree with Darren because I got to know him a long time back when we were studying the same course within actual science or mathematics class, and he read a lot. I would say frequently, probably 4 books per month or 2 to 3 months. 2 to 3 books per month. So I do agree that to find a mentor from video like TED Talk or from some global leaders like whatever you're following with could be a good way, because currently we're in a lockdown and we encourage to do remote learning from everywhere. So, but apart from that, I could recommend another 2 ways for finding a career mentor. So it can be that someone you got to know from internship, because that's how I got to know my first mentor when I was in Australia. And she successfully gave me an 7-month internship, which I do really appreciate. But how did I do that? Is I complete one consulting project through the opportunity offered by Monash as well as the English Connect ambassador. So sometimes when we're looking actively seeking for a career mentor, it might not come. But as long as you're progressing with any initiative, probably the opportunity just comes to you. So, and what we need to do is just to grab it and to see the opportunity. And apart from that, there are some resources from Monash website. It's called Monash Industry and Alumni Mentor. Maybe you can search it out. And also Women in IT Mentor. And also, as far as what I know, there are different mentoring opportunities for each different faculty. And also we do get one for Monash Business faculty as well. So try to search it online. Probably it will be helpful too. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Mary and Darren. Okay. So next question from Olivia. Any tips for job seeking for international students during this pandemic? Anything you guys want to comment on this or?
Well, since no one is answering, I can comment a bit. Obviously, it's hard, and don't be disencouraged, like what Tiffany shared earlier. I think it was a great sharing. And you have to accept that this is happening to everyone. You're not the only one that's being abandoned. And I think it's great that you can still use the chance, if you feel comfortable with, in sharing your life with other people that's in your connection. You need to make them know that you are looking for a specific type of job, or you are open for opportunities. And hence, when they are talking with other people, or when they know of opportunities that suit you, they would come back to you and ask you about it. And if they never knew that you would like it, and they never would have thought of to share with you. So don't be too self-isolated. Do sort of update yourself with friends that you have and variable connections that you have, and reach out. So that's probably the best you can do, and stay positive. Short answer from me.
Yep, awesome. Thank you. Tiffany, do you want to add your comments or?
Yeah, I'll probably say that you need to reach out for other people. Like, for example, like I say earlier, you have to be more active on LinkedIn. Try to post a lot of things that can help you to connect with other people and like try to share your experience with other people. And then like maybe you'll get noticed by the future employers or you can make meaningful connections with other people. That's it. Thank you.
Yep, awesome. Anything else you guys want to quickly add on or happy for me to go first? Yeah.
I agree with what Yuli said. You have to let people know that you are looking for a job and you are employable, because otherwise, how else would the employer know that you are employable if you don't put it outside? So a great way is, as Yuli said as well, on LinkedIn, your header or instead of saying you're a fresh graduate, you can say you're a fresh graduate looking for employment opportunities, something that's easier for them to see and know that you are looking for a job. And then, as what Tiffany said as well, post content as well online. I know most of students do not know what to post or what content. You don't feel like you have the skill set to post. I mean, let's say you want to find a job in marketing. You don't have to be you don't have to be an expert in marketing. You can just post things you've read in a book or things you have learned today. For example, like too many marketing stuff. For example, copywriting skills you learn. Certain words you can use that converts better, or certain technique you can use to write that helps you get more clicks in a website. That's, for example, in marketing aspect. Or if it's more actuarial and more data, you can something you learn more statistics. Maybe Facebook just launched a ad blocker kind of in a new iOS that can't allow marketing agencies to track your data. This small information that really shows that you're keeping up to the news. You know what you want. You know that that's the field you're going to, and employees will know as well. Okay, this guy is up to date. He's quite interested and passionate in that field, and then more likely than not, they'll approach you if they really need someone. For their company.
Yep, good point. Thanks, Tiffany and Darren. We come to the next point. Is it easy to make new friends at the campus when I don't know anyone yet at first? I guess that can also be extended to like new friends at the company. But yeah, just any tips on that? Yep, Tiffany.
I think it's quite easy, but you still have to make effort for it. Like, for example, because it's like an online class, try to make effort to reach out for other people or try to join like several activities like this one. So you can try to talk to other people and don't be shy and be more active in your class. And for example, like the alumni has like LinkedIn or email in their slides, try to reach out to us and then you can try to make meaningful connections with us. I think that's it.
Yep, good point. Thanks, Tiffany. Ashley, do you also have something to add on?
I think with making new friends anywhere you go, I think it's definitely easier on doing classes or on campus or at work because you're already there because there's a common ground, and most of the time other people are possibly just looking for another reason to connect with another human being. So my advice is to not spend too much time thinking and being nervous about it and just make the first move and just start a conversation. I think you really don't know or can't say where things will go from there.
Yep, awesome. Yeah. Ashley, our next question from the audience. I want to ask a question about working in the government. Is government hiring international students? Which department that business international student can apply to? Is there any tests before the interview and any tips for applying the government job?
So I might add on from there. So actually, I was super lucky that I was only one and the first one international student get into the Victorian government. The division is Department of Transport. So I was in a business analyst role over there. But to be honest, unfortunately, I don't think they will accept any international students in the future anymore, just because of the restriction policy. But by saying that, I do encourage each of us trying to seek and probably utilize what resources Monash has given to us. I know that there is one called WELL program, because from there, maybe the government is a partnership with our uni, therefore we can apply for the role while we're still in the uni as a part of the unit, if that makes sense to you. So even though we couldn't apply for that as an individual, but it can be compulsory, it can be complementary as a subject for us to attend. So hopefully that would help. And apart from that, maybe try to get to know someone from the career session and from or whatever the government resources has offered online. Try to understand what they are really doing over there and get to know whether you're really a good fit from there. Probably that's the only thing that I can say.
Yeah, good point. Thanks, Mary. All right, I'll move on to the next point then. How did you overcome the stress and anxiety of interviews? And Darren, you can take that on.
There's no, the only way I find to overcome presentation skills, like Mary and Yuli pointed out, that's important today. Presentation skills and communication is just really practicing it. And to me, in just this, based on my personal opinion and my way of tackling it, was I joined Toastmasters in 2019. Only in 1 month I became the president of the club, and I led the whole club. Grew to 100 people, very well profitable, non-for-profit club. And every Tuesday night, I remember going to Toastmasters, and I would just in front of the door, sweating palms, and I got no idea what I'm gonna do that night, because you really have to stand up to speak in front of a lot of people you don't know, topics you don't even know. They would literally give you a question, and then you have to just go out on the stage to talk about it for 1 minute. 1 minute can seem like a long time if you don't know what you're talking about. And I find that 2-3 months in, and 4th month, and suddenly I'm just very, very fearless and relaxed when you go there. And this comes through practicing and really looking at how people do it. How are they so calm? I don't think there's any way around it. There's no theory, or there's no, oh my God, please interview go well today, or praying and stuff. I mean, praying still works. But really to overcome it, right? Like really overcome it, not by luck or chance, really embody in you. You really have to practice it in front of your friends, family, if you don't have people around you, or attend clubs and really take on leadership roles, because that forces you to go out of your comfort zone. If it's sweaty palms, just put your palms in your pocket. That's what I did. Other than that, you have to just keep practicing, I would say. Yeah, just that.
Yeah, good point. Thanks, Darren. And the next question is targeted to Mary. How did you structure your resume based on the company you were applying for?
Sure, thanks for that. So actually, I got to know someone while I was doing my internship with a Victoria government, and he got a past experience with Big Four consulting firm, and I seek for him some help, asking what are the key attributes that a consultant could be. And if you don't have a career mentor for now, maybe try to search online what are the top 3 key attributes that a consultant should be, which normally could be problem solving and communication, as well as some analytic capability. So by doing so, we can tailor our resume. We can try to find a good way to sell ourselves by matching our past experience from internship or from volunteering or for some other activities to target for the role that we're applying for, and it can be general for any industry. So basically trying to know what they are looking for, and it has been specifically listed out in the LinkedIn description. And then what we need to do is to summarize what we have got from our past experience, and then we try to match out that we're a good fit for their company. And apart from that, maybe try to find someone within that company or in that industry general to seek for some help, trying to say, because sometimes they're looking for the culture fit. So we need to demonstrate we got the right mindset, or we're able to learn to grow up. So yeah, so that's I would recommend.
Yep, awesome. Thanks, Mary. All right, so for the next question, is it possible to balance working as a part-time job and study for college at the same time? And Uli, feel free to.
Yeah, so during most of my uni life, I had always had a part-time job, And obviously it can get hard, especially during exam season, and you still had to fulfill your work commitments. And I was also doing private teaching as well. But what I want to say is you have to have a plan of what you are studying and how hard they are, and an idea of how many hours you need to contribute to. And you need to be able to make a decision whenever you think that your job or your other commitments, money-making jobs, are jeopardizing your study. When you think there's a risk, you might not have time to study, you might fail. You really have to make a quick decision on what you want at the end. So it is completely possible to balance it, but there are going to be difficulties, and you just have to be firm and have to be always reminded what's really in it for you. What are you in it for? So that's my advice on this.
Yep, beautiful. All right, the next one. Does online classes really not effective? That's quite relevant to our current climate. Yep, really.
Yeah, so because I teach at Monash Business School, so I teach a few econometrics and I teach the probability unit. I have to say that as a staff, we do seek to provide students as much as we can. However, I understand that it does require you to be a bit more, you take a bit more initiative in this time, because it's harder for you to talk to a student now as opposed to just turn around and ask, hey, have you done that homework last week? It is harder, but helps are available, consultations are still there. You just need to step up a bit more, because you have to have the correct mindset, because people are actually helping. They are paid to do so. So you have to do your part as well, because this is the best you can get for now. And since you can't change the situation, think about what you can do to make yourself adapt better. As far as the student feedback that we read after each semester, there are obviously a lot of students who do think it's effective and they can learn. So if they can do it, you can do it too.
Perfect. Thanks, Uli. Our next one from Haren. Any web could help us with finding internship, because I'm seeking a part-time job these days. I think Haren, sorry, is asking for like specific web. Yep, Darren or Tiffany?
Tiffany can go.
I think most of the time I'm using like LinkedIn or Seek to find a job. But like if you want to find an internship, maybe it's better if you also take a look at the Monash Career Gateway website. They have a lot of internship opportunity over there.
Beautiful. Thanks, Tiffany. Anything you want to add on, Darren?
Depending on what kind of part-time job you're looking, I don't think there's any part-time. I presume you're in Melbourne. Right now, since it's a lockdown, I'm not sure any part-time job other than everything digital will be available. So I'm just gonna assume that you're looking for a more professional part-time job instead of those that you listed just for cash. So it's more towards career. You can go into Indeed and all the big platforms to look for jobs, like what Tiffany said. It will be very hard, because if you're doing it, everyone else will be doing it as well. So I would say find the highest barrier to entry way to get a job, because people will not go that far. I remember speaking to one of this lead that I have, and I literally text him on email, his PA, his LinkedIn, his Facebook Messenger. I was talking on Instagram, and that's how I got to speak to him, right? I think it's too sensitive to say who that founder is, but he's quite a big multi-millionaire. He's also from Melbourne, used to be, but he got to be very successful. And after 7 LinkedIn messages of no replies, he replied. And that's, no one would repeatedly send him a LinkedIn message once a week for 7 weeks in a row. But that's the only way to get to people at the top. And for you, if you want to really want to get a part-time job, you can't go the easiest route, because everyone will go, it's quite easy to apply on LinkedIn to spam your email, spam your resume to everyone. But it's very hard to dig into their lives, not stalk, but really go deeper a little bit to reach out to them, to really speak to them. And one example, also one of my friends who reached out also to this very, very successful person who cannot be reached without making an appointment. He went and stalked his Facebook and his family and found out that he likes a particular guitar from the US, and he bought it and shipped it over to his office. And the guy literally texted him, when do you want to meet up? So that's the amount of how far you're willing to go to get a job. If you are really, really keen on getting it, and there's a lot of ways, but you have to be borderline stalker and just a normal person. You need to draw the line, but you need to go a little bit deeper to really get those information and really, really pay off over the long term.
Yep. All right. Thanks, Tiffany and Darren. I think Horan just added on that it's for marketing in particular. Just anything you guys want to add on, or you happy for me to get on to the next?
It's for marketing. Marketing, it's I don't know if I take too much time, but the fastest way to do that, especially everything is digital today, is to go on either their LinkedIn or their wherever they are at. If it's Facebook groups, they hang out a lot of Facebook groups. So wherever they are, they'll post their problems or some form of situation they're having, and you go and solve it for them right away and post it in the comment. Like if they say they are looking for a freelancer for this job, and then you just post as if they've hired you and post your answer and your work on the comment or inbox them. And once you do that, right, I almost guarantee you they will hire you on the spot. That happened to me once. Actually, not more than once, but it works because you actually deliver value upfront immediately to them. Especially marketing is quite fast. The work is just an exchange of value. There's not too much length of time in between work and the payout. So I would definitely suggest, recommend you do that.
All right. Thanks, Darren. Okay, cool. We're going to go for the next question. Is there any contribution from Monash to help the students or alumni to find jobs? Yep, Mary and Tiffany. Yep.
Mary can go first.
Okay, sure. I think there is a one called Monash Career Connect, and I do believe they got some remote resources for us as well. So probably that could be a good choice. And Tiffany, you can add more from there.
Yeah, like I said before, you can try searching Monash Career Directory and Monash Career Gateway. And I think they also have a new service to review your cover letter, resume, or try to improve your interview skills. So it's worth to check it out.
Yep, awesome. Thanks, Mary and Tiffany. Cool. Next one. How do you get a part-time job? I've tried applying but have seen no response and would only be advised from others that you need to know someone from the job to get into the job. Are there any other ways to get a part-time job at this day and time? Really interesting one. And quite, yeah, I think it is also a part of COVID now that most international students are experiencing. Yep, Mary.
Sure. So probably what I can add from here is I see a very good example on LinkedIn, and who is current the City of Melbourne ambassador. So what I have seen from her experience is she posts a lot. She actively attends a lot of career sessions online, and because currently each of the company they host their career webinar online through the remote way, which is even more accessible from our point of view, because wherever we are, we can easily log in to attend it. And after each of the sessions, she tried to connect with the industry professional and try to leave a thanks message on LinkedIn. And also she write a nice summary and post it in the public, which has attracted a lot of flow on the LinkedIn. This way, she appreciates the help that the host has given to us, and also she get to build the mutual connection. And also from sharing, she attracts more future like employer or other peers to learn in the future. So maybe that will be a good way to try. So yeah, to be confident. I do agree that in the lockdown period and during the COVID-19, everything becomes difficult, but that's a new normal. We need to adapt to it and try to change our mindset, try to be more proactive, as what you and everyone else has commented before. So yeah, that's it.
Yep, awesome. Thanks, Mary. Okay, good. Next one. What and how much volunteers is enough or has the best chances to get internships?
I think Mary is the best person to answer this since she volunteers a lot. But to me, I don't think there's a number to say, 5 volunteers is enough or 2. It's just when you're volunteering, right, the employer is not saying, oh, she volunteered 3 times, 5 times last year. It's your character and your values in life, what you value most. If you volunteer, which means that you decided to volunteer your time to help other people or whatever cause you have for free, which means that you do not value money as much as your cause and your values. So that's it's not so much as what how many times you volunteer or what you volunteer in, is the fact that you did that continuously throughout your life that shapes you as a person, and that's what they are looking for.
Yep, thanks, Darren. Ashley, you want to add on to something?
Oh, yeah. So just touching on what Darren said, I do think that the nature of the activity that you do or what you're passionate about is way more important than how many times you did. So don't stress if like maybe you feel you only had 1 volunteering opportunity or your friend had 5. I think it really matters like the ownership that you take of that role and how that's going to contribute to your position in an internship. So don't worry about the number, I would say.
I might just add one little bit about that. I do see that people would worry about how much would be enough. Probably I would say if you do one and you did well, you climbed from the normal team member as a leadership, then you are successful. Because what the volunteering experience matters is it helps you to answer the behavior question in the interview process. So if you have really contributed something in the past, then you can demonstrate that you're a well-rounded person. So that's what really the volunteering means. Yes. So good luck.
Awesome. Thanks, Darren, Ashley, and Mary. All right, next question. Will this meeting recording be uploaded on YouTube? Okay. Yeah, don't worry about missing the first part. We will be uploading on YouTube, and we will announce our uploading on our Facebook post soon. Okay, beautiful. Next one. Though major in finance and accounting, I'm really interested in actuarial science and are looking for intern opportunities after graduation. What sort of skills or advice for someone with no actuarial background to work in the industry?
Yep. Well, I don't particularly work in actuarial industry, but this is happen to be one of those industry that people don't really only look for whether you have that skill, but people also look for whether you have the certifications. So if you do want to work in that industry that bad, you probably should start looking into how to sit in the exams for your certificate. I've definitely heard a company hiring for people who's only got level 1, level 2. Obviously there is level 3, but if you are good enough, companies, they are happy to pay for you to do your level 3 exam, part 3 exam, and also pay for your days that you need to take off to prepare for the exam. But I think it's probably more likely that they hire people who's already got certain exemptions or certain certifications on exam. Yeah, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe there are a few other people who's majoring actuarial here.
Yeah, one way what you said is right. The certifications, you have to have your certifications to be an actuary. But I remember sitting and meeting up with one of the actuaries in Medibank and asking him about his journey, how did he came about. His was interesting because he did not, well, that's what you said, he did not have an actuarial background or degree, matter of fact. And how what he did was he knew he wanted to be an actuary. So he found a company that has a division for actuary division. And he worked in a business admin side to transition into the actuarial later on in life. That's a big risk, but he did that for 2 years. And he was telling the managers and hinting them that he wants to move there, he wants to move there. And they were supporting his certificates while he was still working in the business admin role. And once he was certified, he directly instantly moved to the actuarial department. So I think that would be a good way to go into it if you want to let them pay for your certification and you want to have money while waiting for them to accept you into the other department. Not sure if that still works today, but that worked for him last 30 years ago.
Yep, thanks, you and Darren. Anything you want to add on, Ashley, Mary, or Tiffany? No? Yep,
all good, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Lucky last, what are the questions typically asked during interviews? How do you best approach these questions? Any tips to international students who might not be as fluent in English when answering interview questions? This is a really good one. Yep, Ashley.
I think questions that are typically asked during interviews, they will, in my experience, and I think I've done countless of interviews this year, they always ask like how your previous experience, what you learned in your previous experience and how it will be useful to this role, whatever role that you're applying for. That's a very common question that's asked. Usually they like to understand, but apart from technical skills, because I would think that technical skills would differ depending on your major or what you studied. But when it comes to like behavioral skills, they always want to know like the amount of self-awareness you have, like so how much you know about yourself and your working style and the way you approach different problems. So they might ask you like case scenario questions, like for example, give me an example of a time that you did not succeed in a task and how you handled it. So it will be really useful to prepare certain situations that you could like whip out and would fit these kind of questions. Like just think of a scenario that could maybe fit these different examples that they will ask you. And as with any tips for international students who may not be as fluent in English, I think before you feel like lousy about yourself, I want to remind you that you are really fluent in in another language, and most of the time I think people interviewing you might not have that skill, and I think it is very brave for you to want to interview in a language that you're not fluent in, and I think that is something that you should already be very proud of yourself, and with tips on how to be good with better with that, I would think to definitely have a buddy, like a friend who might be better in English and is willing to practice with you, or like this friend that promises to always speak to you in English, fluent English, or so that way you can definitely practice your English skills with someone that you're comfortable with.
Beautiful. Thanks, Ashley.
Welcome.
Anything you guys want to add on?
Maybe I can talk about the English part. Well, you have to remember, you've came to Australia and you studied English, and you would graduate with a degree that's completely in English. So you can't be that bad. You have passed certain certificates you have passed IELTS and then many other tests as well. But if you are looking for a job where they are very clear that English or fluent English is a very critical part of the job, and you don't get it because of that reason, that's fine. That's fine. Don't worry about it. But if it's a job where you think you should be able to succeed even without speaking English like a native speaker, then be genuine about it. Be genuine about the fact that you might not be fluent in English, and show them other shining points that you have. What I mean is, just don't be beaten up just because your English is not great. First of all, it's good enough. And second, you do have a lot of other advantages that the company should value for. Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks, Yu. Anything Darren, Mary, or Tiffany you want to add on?
I would add on to not the English part, but the first two questions on what questions are normally asked. I would think that it's very different from depending on your employer, and normally it's not following a script. You'll probably go off topic a little bit depending on your answer as well. And end of the day, you want your values to align with them, because they are hiring someone they're gonna work with. So they need to hire someone they like, not just you're good, but then you're a bit introvert and just don't have the same wavelength. So just really be yourself, because if it's not the right employer, then it's not the right employer. Then you have to just don't be sad about it, because you should be happy, because otherwise you'll be coming home every day cursing at your boss. You should be happy that, okay, it's not a right fit, and then you just move on to the next one until one day you will find your right fit, a boss or a manager that believes what you believe, understand what you are saying, what you're talking, just understand you as a person. And then that helps a lot in the future and in the long run when you start working together and project comes in and time is of essence and the stress is there. That's when it really plays out, I would say.
Yep, that's a really good mindset. Yep, Nari. Want to add?
Lisa, so I might just add two more on this one. So first, on the first part, what are the interview questions that we might get? I wouldn't directly answer that part because it depends on different role. But what we can do is try to search out who are the interviewers for us on LinkedIn, and therefore you can get to know their past experience. Therefore, potentially you can try to find some common points between you and him, because that's what I did for my current consulting role. I did a partner interview twice with two different partners, and I got to know that they have got some team working experience in the past in the basketball team, which I clearly demonstrate that I got a similar experience. Therefore, in that way, it can help you to shorten the distance between you and the employer. So it might be helpful. And on the second point, regarding to the English part, I would say that in general, for the local employer, they would definitely value as an international student because we bring some new idea, and they do appreciate our courage to move into a new country. So I would say as an international student, I feel the benefit of doing so because we're so brave to make our first move, and I wish everyone the luck in the future as well. So as long as we can justify our past experience, it will be good. So don't worry too much. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thanks, Mary. Anything anyone else want to add on? Yeah, all good with that one? Cool, beautiful. Again, lucky last might be. Knowing when plays a crucial role to pass job application process, but is there anything else could I do to still be able to pass the process if I did not have a good one?
I think that the importance of WEM would definitely differ depending on the type of job you're applying for, or the nature of the role that it needs. Like, for example, does it require something that is very technical, that, you know, something that your WEM could show how good you are, versus like this is just an example. For example, if I'm applying for a marketing job and they want to see how I design certain posters, or what my copywriting skills are, what I would do instead of showing, like providing my WEM, would be to show my portfolio of work that I've written. So I think depending on the job that you're applying for, the WEM might not be that important. I think I have not I think I've given maybe at least 5 or 6 interviews this year already, and even interviews I did last year, and I've never been asked what my WEM was. So I think definitely depends on like the nature of the job, and I don't think you should let that hold you back from applying for something that you want.
Yep, thanks, Ashley.
Yeah. Welcome.
Anyone else want to add on to that? Okay, yep. Cool, I think that's the end of Q&A today. Thank you so much for the questions, and thank you so much for your time, you, Darren, Tiffany, Ashley, and Mary. You together answered almost like 40 questions. That's such a big progress today, so thank you all for your time. And I know that we're a bit conscious of the time, that's why not everyone of you could like answer the questions at the same time, but all your tips, your experiences, your strategies, and your advice are really useful for the current international students to know about at the moment. So thank you so much for that. And that's it about the session today. So MUISS is really grateful for the audience and all the alumni to come today. I guess stay safe, everyone, and yeah, just stay healthy. Have a good night. And that's all about it.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks so much, everyone.
Lovely to see you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.